Welcome back. It's time for the interview segment, and as you all know, today is Wednesday. We get to discuss social issues, and what we're talking about today is the menace of environmental pollution in the society. We'll talk about the regulations surrounding it and what can be done to to manage the situation, also eradicate the situation in the society. And we have with us Mr. Nwadozie George to do justice to the topic. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Grace. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. So on environmental pollution, we know that this cuts across different space. We have where people dump refuse on the road. We see people do their number one or number two on the road. They don't care. I know a very popular example at Agege. When you're at Agege, probably person on that bridge, there's this stench that that comes out of that place because people do whatever it is they do there, and then you see probably gutters filled with bottles, nylons, and all of those things, and you hear people say, the government has put out a regulation that this should be managed. There should be a waste management authority to help pack waste or to help dispose waste properly, or if you are caught disposing stuffs on the road, you'll probably pay a fine and all of that. Now we of course regulations are there on paper, but we do not see that we do not see it being actualized. We do not see it in action. So what can you say about that?
Like you rightly said, regulations are there on papers. I just went through the constitution. I found that it is in the constitution, of Nigeria that waste disposal, is something that is vehemently against. You don't just dispose waste anywhere. But the issue is that, like you said, it's on paper. It is not something. It is not a policy that is followed through and through. Like there's a physical adherence to it. There was a time, you can't just dump a refuse anywhere. You even be afraid to pee somewhere, or when you're in a bus and you eat something, you finish eating, you put it in your pocket. You don't throw it out of the window and all that. But all these things are culture. They had to do with culture. You understand? The culture of a people, the culture, the tradition of a person. If it is taught in the schools, so from the primary schools or the nursery schools up to our university levels, that's when you finish eating, when you do anything, whatever it is that you do, make sure you dispose that thing properly. If you eat biscuits in Oshodi, and there is no way you are in a vehicle, you don't throw it out from a moving vehicle to anywhere. Put the nylon or the pack in your pocket until you get home, where you see a dustbin and you put it. And then there was one time the Lagos state government came out to bring out a policy of making sure you have a basket in every bus. But then that's
I don't think the past how many days I've been coming to work, I've never seen the dustbin in any.
There was one time there was
a time that it was even in public buses.
In public buses and all those things, it was quite enforced. But with the way things are in the country, some people will take it upon themselves to just look out for that, to get gratifications like a bribe or anything. You don't have a basket in your bus, whatever. Some police officers, corrupt police officers will go after that, or whoever will go after that. So it is a cultural defect. What happened in other countries is a cultural thing. To control waste, it's a cultural thing. If you go up north, you see the way they live. You go up south, down south, you see the way they live. You go to the middle belt, you see the way they live. Some people are attributed to some things. Some people wake up and you have a community that sweeps their streets. Every morning there's a group of people that sweeps and then they pack it. It is accustomed to some persons. I come from the southeast, and so in my village, I found out that the few time I was there, I found out that they always have a group of women from different groups that sweeps the street for week in, week out. They sweep the roads, they clean it, they do all this, so they don't need. Then there was a time also the Lagos state government came out with war against indiscipline. You understand me? And they were doing sanitations on Saturdays. Then the governor came and cancelled it out. And some people even feel disgruntled. Why should I sit at home on Saturdays? No enforcement. There was one time it was enforced that you must adhere to such things, but because we take laws, we just take laws as being opportunity to make money. That is why it ended up in the trash.
Okay, now, so do you think that the governments has so much fault in this, because of course, like Grace said, we usually have people who dump refuse. There was a time that when you dump refuse on the roadside, when you are caught, you are going to be disciplined. Maybe you pay a fine or something. But for some time now, I've been seeing people dump refuse, like they've made that particular place a dump site. This is on the road. They've made that place a dump site, and what do they call it now? Is it Loma?
Yes.
They come, like they already know that we are going to pick the refuse from this place.
Because they feel that is the directive. Dump it here, we'll pick it from there. Nobody will hold you. There's no place. There was a time we didn't have all these waste products renewable sites. And Lagos State built some places, but then they are not that functional. In some developed countries, like in South Korea, you understand, some other countries like that, they have all their stuffs are renewed. Plastic, paper, wood, whatever it is, they are all renewed. You can use them again. So the law is there. There is an existing law, but it is tradition, culture. It is, in fact, culture. It's not tradition, culture. Now, the cultural behavior of a people. If you go to Ghana, for instance, you can't just throw a nylon, a biscuit nylon outside. The whole people in the bus will scream at you. The bus driver will tell you to get down and go and pick it up, because it is a cultural, mental thing. And then they will say, "Where are you from?" They say, he's a Nigerian. He's not a Ghanaian, because they know a Nigerian, you just throw it anywhere. It's carefree about it. And I've gone to the north. I've seen that happen. I've gone to the Midwest. I've seen that happen. I've gone to the South. I've seen that happen. That same nonchalance. I've gone to the East. I've seen that happen. But then some few people try to keep that adherence to that cultural behavior. I want to be neat. I hate dirty around my area. We just want to be neat. But we always say government, like you said, government, and who is the government? Government, what's the definition of government anyway? Government is something for the people, by the people, and for the people, isn't it? So that means that it is the people that is the government. And so it is not somebody giving out to rules and regulations. That is the thing. But those who are supposed to abide by that rules and regulations are also accountable.
Okay, so
permit me to ask this question now. Here in Lagos, I'm not this travel type anyway, so I don't know. I think I know much about Lagos. Here in Lagos, when these refuse people, when they carry the refuse, there's a particular place like all of them come to meet, and in some of these areas, you still see residential around it. Do you think this is supposed to be so? I'm not supposed to take it somewhere so far and all of that.
You see, all those things are. This thing is like planning. You have people who are town planning authorities.
Yes.
And they all see these things now, but because of greed, because of corruption, because some people will just collect money by the back. You see somebody building a big house just close, in fact, just by the side of a refuse dump.
I think you can still see that
and the house will be approved. It will be approved by the authorities for somebody to build a house there, which is totally wrong. It is supposed to be a waste disposable place. It's supposed to be somewhere far away from the people, and then there need to be machines, some kind of machines that will now separate this. Because we have different waste. We have vegetable waste, we have paper waste, we have wood, we have plastic, we have all iron waste, and all these things are renewable. You can use them over and over again. But because we are so lazy as a people, we just want to throw it away. Just we finish taking a sachet of pure water and then we just dispose it, just dump it, just throw it on the ground. That is it. And the next thing, you pour sand on it, and nylon will never decay. It will not rust. It will just be there for the number, even if it's going to be there for the 50 million years, it will still be like that. It will just a little burst here and there, but it will still be like that. It is not like wood. It is not like a vegetable that you can put under the ground and it turns to manure or whatever. So it behoves on both the authorities and also the people. So now the authorities, if giving out these laws, these regulations, these are the laws and regulations that all of us must abide with. They too must abide with it. Their families must abide with it. Their friends must abide with it. The community, everybody must abide. The rules of, if you pee here, it is 50,000 naira. So as soon as you are peeing there, somebody is just behind your back. Finish your peeing, take your just come and pay. That's all, no problem. Just give you a ticket, you pay there. You pay. Next time you can come and pay here. There's no problem. But you pay 50,000. I think that will stop people.
You know, okay, so talking about people and, you know, the need to develop a culture, a mindset of, you know, keeping the environment clean. I was in a situation some time back. I was on my way to work, and then I saw a young boy just dump, you know, pure water line sachet on the ground, and then I had to stop him because I was like, you're not supposed to do this. He was throwing it into the gutter. I said, you're not supposed to do it. And his mom was there, was like, okay, what's happening? Then I told her that your son is not supposed to dump his pure water nylon into the gutter, because this is what will cause flood. And that place is always flooded if the rain starts, you know, falling. It is always flooded. And I said, these are the issues. Dumping plastics into the gutter and all. And the next thing this woman did was to start shouting, like, you know, she was saying it in Yoruba, like, go away, leave here, what are you saying, this and that. Now, and we say, you know, we need people to cultivate the mindset or the culture of keeping their environment clean. How is that going to be possible if the average Nigerian is not willing to even listen, is not willing to, you know, take note of little things like this? You see bottles, and the person selling drinks on the road or by the roadside would even take the bottle and dump it on the ground, from vendors, from buyers and everything. So how is it possible? Because me, I personally do not see a possibility of how they can cultivate a mindset. We say these things over and over and over again, but then absent-minded, somebody will take maybe a nylon and just throw it somewhere. Like,
you know, I questioned somebody on the issue of structure, you know, one time, and the person says structure is a people. Structure is not the building. It's not like you build a particular, it's a system that works. The United States, the Britain, the developed countries, some of these developed countries, they have a system that must work. And so if you are coming into that system, you have to work according to the system that works. And what is that system? It is the people. The regulations that they have put down, that they make sure they've adhered to. Like if you are in a group, an organization, no matter how small it is, you guys have rules and regulations that guide you. And so when somebody goes out of their way, you say, no, you must come here. If the president goes out, the president out of his way to do something, he cannot use his veto power or have veto power to want to do anything there. Except that veto power there's a clause in your constitution that gives him or her room to use a veto power. If he offends, he will serve the punishment for offending that rules and regulations. But because we are a people who believe things should just be, we should just do it. Now you meet a woman and you caution her child, and then the next thing is that, why are you doing this? And people will also frown at you for you know, what's your business? Why are you doing that? But if the people already know, all the whole people, they will, in fact, the woman will be arrested alongside the child, because the child is an adolescent. The woman will be arrested and will pay the fine for the child throwing that waste sachet nylon in the gutter, because that will cause flooding, that will cause blockage, that will cause a whole lot of things. But because both the authority and the people are culpable of the whole offense, nobody, it seems, go out, you know, just do as you wish. But you see some countries, Uganda is ranked as one of the neatest, you know, Kampala is a city in Uganda, one of the biggest cities, their main capital, is the neatest, you know, place in the whole of Africa compared to Washington in the United States. And why? Because they make sure everything, you can't just, and Nigerians live there, because Nigerians too have seen that system work. They had to abide with that system. except if you are just coming in from the outside. And when you come in from the outside, your first week, you could do the nonsense you used to do in your country. But when you see, they don't know, you don't see anybody peeing by the corner. You have to go to somewhere they say that is where you have to pee. You go there and pee, or you want to do the second one. You go where you have to do it without any nonsense. Government have tried its best to provide some of these things, but then adherence to them, and also the government putting down stricter measures, making sure that these measures are not because this person is my brother now, leave him now. He's my sister now, leave him now. We speak the same language, leave her now. We practice the same religion, leave her now, until we eliminate all these factors. You understand? And follow it and say it is the rule. I was at the bank on Saturday on ATM queue, and we're queued to take cash from the ATM machine. There were just two machines working, and a man came. The security went to bring one woman from somewhere, the bar. I know she wasn't queuing up there. Just brought her and then we put her by the hand, and just know whether she was that old or whatever. Put her, I went there, and it was like all of you that were there. And she was there. She brought out one ATM. She used it. Okay. She brought up another
second
ATM,
one.
She used it. And then one man came to me. There was a woman just in front of me, and another woman in front of her. The woman went to sit down. The man came, an elderly man, and said, this woman had been here standing in for him, that he just drove in now with the family and his own were explaining. I said, no problem, that the woman will leave, I will stay in this position. I said, no problem, ma. No problem, sir. But this can only happen in this part of the world, this Nigeria, because we seems to respect elderly people and not follow rules and regulations. Because in Ghana, an elderly man will go and queue up. In some countries, they will queue up, follow that same protocol. You follow the protocol and do the same. A minister will queue up. Nobody will listen to a minister because it's the minister of this thing or the president or whatever and give him the room just to go and do that thing. That is rules and regulations. What happens with one of the American presidents at one time that they had this sex scandal with the secretary and all those things. In this country, it will be so what's that? The woman won't even ever in her life open her mouth and say such thing that the president made a pass at me or something like that. That can never come into being because we are the people we are. And so until we change our cultural behavior, our mindsets, adhere with stricter measures. The stricter measures is that you who is giving out the instruction, you adhere to it. You who the instruction is given to, you adhere to it. And nobody sees it from the perspective is my sister or my brother. It will work.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about curbing this menace. And we see that for example, you go to the market to purchase something. You're buying something worth 100 naira, you get a black nylon. Maybe you go to another store, you buy something worth 100 or 50 naira, you get a nylon. And then some people will feel offended if the vendors do not give them nylon. Because why not give? I paid for it and all of that. By the time you get home, you are having about 5-6 nylon for something worth maybe you took 1,000 naira to the market. Now we know that in other countries, they tell them to bring back their bags or their whatever, probably paper bag.
There's even a particular mat here in Lagos that does that. They don't give nylons out, and they tell you to bring back the ones. Do you think this is actually very possible? Even if a person does not have to go to the mart or maybe the supermarket and all of that, just going to the market, do you think this can work just to curb this environmental pollution? Because like you said, nylons do not decay. It stays wherever it is for as long as possible. So what can you think this can actually work? The fact that you have to bring back your bags to the market so you can use it to purchase something, unless you probably carry your goods home on your hands.
Let's use the what is working in the United States for example. In the US, every other thing is paper bag. You buy everything, it has to be a paper bag. and so it is easy to dispose the paper bag. And then every other day you can trash them. And then in house, it started in Nigeria some years back, I think in the 90s or so, where this early 2000, where you had these big nylon bags, black new nylon bags, and then they used to distribute them all across homes. This is for plastic, this is for paper, this is for nylon. Now, to eliminate the use of nylon, you have to totally eliminate it from the society totally. And then introduce the use of paper bags. Paper is easy to either reproduce or do any. Nylon is also easy to reproduce, but it can easily be just dumped and not, big journey, to not rot in it. Nothing will happen to it. It will just remain there and cause nuisance. So, but paper bags can easily be, if you are not disposing it, you can just put it in a fire and burn it off, and that is just it. That's the end to it. And then supermarkets also, where people go to the market. That's what I'm telling you, culture. When you are cultured, back in the village in those days, my grandmother, who is dead now, wants to go to the market. She will carry a basket. There's a basket. They say every woman who is going to the market must have a basket. They will take to the market to go buy their items and put them inside. You understand me? There's no nylon. There's nothing. There's nothing like, so you buy, you put in your basket. You buy, you put in your basket. You put in your basket until you go home. So if we eliminate, imagine the government puts a ban on rubber, on plastic. Everything rubber should just go into making tires and making some things that can be used industrially, not polythene bags, small polythene bags, now 15 naira, 20 naira, whatever. You ban all those things and then you just paper. You find people who will follow the trend, like what you're having a cashless issue. People are gradually following the trend of it is transfer, it is eating.
Yes.
People are gradually following that, they are getting used to it. You get what I'm saying? They are getting used to it. So you do it. It's a simple thing. People will get used to it.
I feel people will get used to it, really, because this particular matter that I'm talking about, people now know that they don't give out nylon. So you come with your own bag, or you either go home with your goods in your hand, which is not possible. All right, because of our time, we
I still have
to
one last question. Basically, just to round up this conversation. Now, this is basically on the Sustainable Development Goals. I think we have 4 that relates to environmental. It says here clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, and then sustainable cities and community, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, and of course partnership for the goals. Now, do you think that in the next, and we see that this is a 2030 target, so looking at Nigeria now, do you think this is achievable with our current environmental issues and the fact that the number of people being educated, even if we have we have NGOs that go to schools to educate people on the fact that you need to keep a clean environment, but do you think this is still achievable in Nigeria presently by 2030?
We have a problem of meeting up with targets. We've had many targets in this country, from Operation Feed the Nation, from this and that, something by the year 2020, 2000. I was in 2000 and nothing happened, and it's just economic growth, all these different kinds of targets, and it is long-term plan. Yes, it is if something people say, okay, let us meet up with this and that, there's a procedure to everything, and there are processes to everything. It is achievable, but then it could just meet us. 2030 can just meet all of us here. Can just meet us and we'll find out that we've not done anything. You understand? Then we'll project another time. So it is not just about projecting, but it is making sure that it starts. Environmental issues, climate change has been fought over in the world. Every time they are having protests, even when the UN is having their meetings, you see climate change stuff coming up, and all that has always done. Now we talked about burning of bushes. It affects the ozone layer. You understand me? Fossil fuel, it affects the ozone layer. Countries are now deviating from using fossil fuel to renewable energies, like green energy, vegetable energy, biofuels, and all those things. So all those things are things that the government, who is you and I, must adhere to and follow strictly to achieve. Now, we have a problem of achieving something. We feel if I, George, start something, I should benefit from it. That's a joke. That's a very big joke. Because let's look at it from like this. All of us know who is the guy that developed the river Niger, the Niger confluences. He's dead now. He never got any gratification for discovering that place. No, so many people have been passing there, locals have been, but they don't know what that is. But somebody came and then discovered that, okay, this crosses here, that happens here, then they called it River Niger. The man did not get any gratification, but his name is embedded in the books of history. For discovering that part. It is a discovery. It is something, if you people start it, the next generation or generations unborn will enjoy from it. They will now thank you guys. Say, my forefathers really tried for us to bring us this far. We all are heading to want to travel to America, want to go to the United States, want to do, but United States is developed today after 400 years. It took them 400 years to get to where they are right now. And we are just about 60 years old. And we think we should be like them overnight. It is impossible.
Okay, so in summary, you don't think that this can be achieved in century?
No, see, I'm not saying it cannot be achieved. I'm saying if we put our minds to it, we are strict with our ways and everything. We forget all the issues of he's older than me, let's respect him. Let's do this, let's follow strict measures to that line. Follow the line. We will achieve it in a shorter time than a longer time. But if we don't do that, the longer time will meet up with us and we'll still not achieve anything.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for your time. I wish we could go on, but our time is fast spent. So thank you. We'll take a short break and I'll be right back to continue with Daybreak Africa. Just stay with us.